So you'll need 2 candles. And let's say you're trying to help out some of your friends. Could be in the Pacific, could be in the Indian Ocean, could be way over in Japan somewhere, it could be over in England, it could be in the Bahamas, it could be in the Gulf, it could be in the Caribbean, who knows? There's water all over the planet, and there's wind all over the planet, so it could be anywhere. As long as you don't steer anything, you don't move anything, all you're saying is you would go ahead and pick up your candle before you etch anything into it, and you would blow into it and say, I honor you, Kári. And then I have a particular stav. You don't have to have this. You can just use your fingernail, or you can use something else that you would, etch into wax for. You can use your fingernail. I used that for years, actually. And what I'm doing is I'm carving into it as I sing the actual rune for Kári, which is Rido. Rido, 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 Gabo. I forgot to mention Gabo. Gabo looks like an X. And so you just etch Rido 3 times across the candle, and then what looks like an X, which is called Gabo. And let me see if I can show this to you. And then you would just say, thank you, Kári. Thank you. Hail Kári. 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 If you want to do this, you can do either 3 breaths or 9 breaths, or you can do 1 if you want to start off. But let's see how close I can get this. Okay. Can you see how the R, I know it's backwards, but you can kind of visualize this. 3 R's going across, and at the bottom you can see an X. So that's Rido, 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 and then Gable. So this is our wind candle. This is our Kári candle. And what we're doing is we're thanking the wind for the shear, which chops up the storm or any potential storms. And that's all we're doing. Okay, and then this was completely intuitive. I didn't know what Tyr did in relationship to wind. I was surprised when I got this message, because once I started working with candles, and there's several more runes that rune symbols and candles that I was working with, as well as doing some other ritual work. And because I'm clairaudient, and that's how I work with them, and I also make offerings to them as well, and that's actually something I'll tell you to do in just a second. One of the messages I got was, you should start putting Tiwaz with that. I was like, okay, I don't get it. I don't understand why we're going to do this, but let's do it anyway. And then later, I usually find out why. And so we just go into it and we do it. So this one is more because Tyr and Tiwaz is kind of associated with the sky. Well, it is. It's associated with the sky, among other things. So now I'm going to say, while I carve into my other candle, Tiwaz. I'm going to do a bind rune on this one, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. Tiwaz, 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 Gabo, Gabo, Gabo. Hail Tyr. So this one looks a little different, and what it's going to look like is one line going down. When I told you that had a little arrow at the top, that's like a normal Tiwaz, like this with this, right? But this one is going to have the one line with the top, and then 2 more arrowheads beneath it. So there'll be like 1, 2, 3 arrowheads with a straight line in the middle. It'll almost look like a little Japanese house type thing. And then after that will be 3 X's, so 3 Gabos. So let me see if I can, yeah, it's not exactly the easiest thing to see, but you can sort of see where I have the 3 arrowheads going down, and it almost looks like a tree, like a pine tree. And then 3 X's, those are the Gabo symbols. This is the Tiwaz, and that's technically a bind rune. So now if you're doing this for the first time and you've never worked with any of these deities before, what I would suggest, and really even if you have worked with them before, you should do this anyway because it's just good practice, is if you have, if you grow mead, great, but I don't. So I'm sure all of us are familiar with kombucha or some kind of malt beverage. You know, kombucha has a tiny little bit of alcohol in it, but not much. And what I like to do is right after I light these, I go ahead and go outside and give a little bit of, well, not that much, maybe just, a little bit for Tyr and Kári. I might do a little tiny glass each for each of them. And this way, it's kind of like you're sending them a gift from afar saying thank you. And this is real stuff. They will, they pick up on it. And I've noticed in past instances that it's actually abated potential development. I don't want to guarantee anything in terms of like exactly how it does that because it's always different every time, just like the weather is always different, right? So, but this is a real thing, this is a real benefit. And really at the end of the day, it helps me feel closer to the elements in a way that helps me feel like I can have a relationship with them that doesn't require me like going out and getting on a boat, and which, I'd love to do that, but I can't. So, there's got to be a way around that, right? So this is it. And I've found a lot of success with it. If this sounds kind of cool to you, or even if you're like, well, I don't know about the weather, but I'm really into like learning more about how I can relate to the runes for other parts of my life, maybe like, your career or your health or your emotional life or your mental, maybe something's going on with you in terms of like, you just like your life to change differently. You would like to have a deeper relationship with these deities, maybe to help you out. You'd like to figure out how to honor them. These are things that will probably come up, themes that will come up. But our first class coming up, it's to be determined when the exact date is, but I will have obviously a lot of focus will be on these 2 runes that I talked about. And we'll learn how to do this. And we'll also shamanic journey, which is it's a very visceral experience where you will have your own personal connection to these deities and to these runes. And there'll be other bonuses that I'll include with the class. But why don't you go ahead and think about that and try this out first. And if you're interested, I can put a little link for our wait list. And when you sign up for the wait list for the class, you'll get a free bonus set of rituals that you can do on your own. It's a PDF that has 3 different rune rituals. And one of them is for Tyr. It's actually Tyr for success. There's another one for clearing resentment. And then there's a third one for visibility, like in the world. And that one is with Frigg. So you can see we're going to be getting into different runes, different deities and such. These are associated with the Nordic pantheon, but I am not necessarily going to be, we're not going to be knee deep in the lore, or, we are going to, obviously we'll reference some of the poetic Eddas or the prose Eddas, but it's not something where you have to know the literature. This is all experiential, okay? So, and it's completely beginner. You don't have to have any knowledge of this stuff prior. You don't have to know how to sing. You just have to be able to make a tone in your voice. Because I tend to teach like these chants, they're all on one pitch. We're not going to be singing some kind of, elaborate song here. They're all very simple pitches, like the same pitch over and over with maybe different words. Or, and of course I'll give the words to you if there is such a thing. I know some of the rituals have like, maybe like a little tiny 4-verse thing that we'll say, or sing. But I usually do it on one pitch, so you don't have to learn a melody. So you really don't have to know how to sing, and you don't have to know anything about the runes. You just have to have an open mind, open heart, and desire to really relate to these runes in a way that's really deep and meaningful and will reveal themselves over time. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm on Instagram. Obviously, I have a Patreon. You can join Shamanic Earth Medicine, www.patreon.com/Shamanic Earth Medicine. But the actual Singing the Runes waitlist is a bit.ly. So that's bit.ly/Singing the Runes waitlist. And I'll try and put that in the description so you can click on that link.